linking in for construction projects on I-5 between Portland and Seattle when I'm taking trips up there. Is there something on there that is, you have region-specific stuff on there? Is there something in there, or?
We have this project as well,
Okay.
and we'll put up on this project a special site just about construction.
Okay.
And we can have a link, and we can share our handouts or whatever to all the businesses, so they have copies of them as well, that link. But again, we can send, when we send out our emails, when we send out in the paper every week,
Every week.
our email address is, that, location is there as well. So we're trying to figure out as many places to do that.
So let's make sure that we link the city's website and have an icon on there on the Highway 14 construction project and updates and.
So if you were to look at the 14 website today, it'll tell you that, kind of explains what we're doing at second at the park and ride lot, bring material in. So we try to bring it, put as much information that's relevant on there so that it's a useful tool. I didn't remember what my second thing is. Speed limits are gonna get reduced as they go through here, so that it's a safe operation as we're going through. So starting at the West Camas Slough Bridge, speed limits drop down to 45 for the whole project, which is, 6 to 6 is essentially what it is, 6th and Camas to 6th and Washougal. And then through this section right here and through the section where we're, the West Camas Slough Bridge, we didn't have the money to do all of the project, but we are gonna be installing median barrier, and we'll be reducing the speed limit across the West Camas Slough Bridge because of the lane configurations get.
We're widening it a little bit.
A little bit, so that we can get the median barrier down.
Have you done any recent traffic counts to see how much traffic, specifically eastbound in the afternoons, dumps off at Union and at Second?
The last traffic study we would have done would have been in 7. We really haven't updated it since then.
Right now, I utilize 14 a lot, and unfortunately, due to my poor scheduling, come through there between 4 and 6. It is unbelievable how often that eastbound traffic is backed up across to the west side of the slough, or to the, all the way out to exit 12. But only until you pass Second. There is so much traffic dumping off on Union and at Second. By the time you're headed towards Sixth, you pretty much have clear sailing ahead of you. Personally, I don't think the West Slough Bridge is part of the problem. It flows through there pretty well.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and
It's
that's-
once it gets to the other side, it
That's
hits the
exactly
stoplight.
exactly what our modeling shows. It's the stoplights that cause the backups. The bridge, you get a lot of throughput. We figured almost 20 years, and that was based upon Riverwalk's high optimistic growth numbers,
So
before it became a real problem.
So one of the things you will see is traffic's bad today, like you already alluded to, and it moves in queues. When it's green, people go, when it's red, people stop. Roundabouts will be a lot more smooth. The traffic's gonna be able to just slow down, look and see if there's anybody there, and move through it as they go through this area. So it models very close to what's out there today, right? Which, so it's not gonna be any better, but at least it's not a lot worse.
I'm not quite as optimistic. I think you're going to have congestion, during construction. I mean, it's narrower
Right.
than than what we have today, and that's almost everywhere we build projects, we have to temporarily narrow it up to provide room to build stuff. So I'm not as optimistic, but, hopefully people will figure out other routes and be patient. We will drop the speed limit down, and that by itself will, reduce the throughput a little bit. Can't think of much else we can do. Access to the port during this phase, will they all have to go down Second? You're gonna let Eric allow left into the Joe Welby and?
Less here?
Yeah, through this area, are you allowing
We're
left?
allowing less.
Do you have left turn lane? So one person can block traffic, and turn left?
The volumes are pretty low that are turning left in there in their off-peak on when it is that they're turning in there. This port's, when it gets busy, when all the boats go in, generally not right in the peak commute times, they're off commute.
So I've got a question for you.
Sure.
So in stage, I guess it'd be 2, when you're building Highway 14 proper and we're using the roundabouts on the south side, when we're talking about the evening congestion, is there gonna be any backup plan for having some, I don't know if it'd be a flagger or a police officer out there directing traffic or some sort of temporary signal, so you could allow a lot of traffic to go through without having to worry about merging? And let's say Second Street, at the Second Street roundabout,
Okay,
south side.
south side,
Because, as Mayor Gard mentioned, that's, those two intersections, pretty much are the last choke points before things free up and then it's once again smooth. And the vast majority of the traffic is from the west to the east. And if that traffic were allowed to have long stretches where they could just, you know, shuffle on through that area versus everybody slowing down for, circular traffic, is that a possible backup plan?
well, so like you mentioned, you know, your traffic is very, direction of day, or time of day dependent. So if you're west heading to the east, you're gonna enter this roundabout and you'll be able to essentially just keep on going or make the U to come up Union. You know, the only people that really would sit and wait or find a gap is if you're going west, you're going east to west during that time of day, and then you so the queue would be kind of opposite. It's gonna be, you know, the people sitting here to find a gap to get back on the 14.
So for people turning left to go home at night, have a priority over the people on 14.
Right.
So, and likewise, if you're around GP and you wanna go to up the gorge, so if you're here, you wanna go to the gorge, those folks actually do have priority, because they'll be in the roundabout first, they'll have priority to the through traffic.
Right.
But that's relatively low volume, you know, lower volume. But yeah, I can see a backup here, so the kind of question is, are we gonna have some type of flagger or ability to, so let the queue go through?
Right.
And right now, we aren't planning it, the most efficient use of it is to let it function. But if it backs up for, you know, 4 miles or something, you know, to here, 15th, we have to figure out another game plan.
Right.
The challenge is the first day, I think that may happen,
Right.
and then people will figure out another game plan. And so we may not take action the second day or the third day, we may watch it and see if it stabilizes. And then after 2 days, maybe figure out for the third day if we could really need to do something. If people change their driving enough quite often to balance it out. Kind of like we say, it's, traffic flows like water, they take the path of least resistance. So if they get a lot of resistance one way, then they figure out, maybe I'll go, you know, 10% of people may go up and go 6 and go around through Camps instead, or something else, or go a little bit later, or a little bit earlier. So the first day, we may not be as reactive as you may want.
I understand. But specifically though, do you have experience with having a police officer directing traffic at roundabouts? I mean, is that something that's?
We do plan on having police officers at the bridge. When we go down to 25 miles an hour over the West Kalamazoo Bridge and Searle Narrow, we're gonna have at night especially, we'll have a police officer there to, at the beginning at least, to enforce people to get in the mindset of going 25. And then we'll take it, play it by ear after that. Same thing here, we'll probably need to have police officers, especially the first couple nights, be out there in blue lights and slow people down. Typically, our flaggers, when they're out there, they actually slow down the traffic, believe it or not.
Is it slow?